She said yes, but Spain said no. Princess Leonor's forbidden moment. You know the story. A princess, a future queen, a nation watching her every move. But here's what you didn't expect. The moment she finally said yes, Spain said no, and nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared her for what came next. Princess Leonor of Spain, raised for duty, shaped for leadership, protected from scandal, was never meant to fall in love like this. Not with someone who challenged the monarchy. Not with someone Spain was never going to accept. But love doesn't bow to crowns. This is the night everything changed. The moment a secret, yes, collided with a country's overwhelming no. The moment Princess Leonor learned that even future queens can have their hearts broken by the nation they're meant to serve. Let's begin. Leonor had spent her entire life being watched. Every smile recorded, every gesture interpreted, every friendship dissected by the press. But behind palace walls, away from cameras and expectations, there was one person who saw her, not the crown princess but the young woman she truly was. His name had never been meant for headlines. Alejandro. Quiet, determined, steady. A young man who grew up far outside royal circles, with no noble title, no palace connections, no lineage to impress the Spanish aristocracy. He was everything the monarchy was not prepared for. And yet, he was everything Leonor had ever wanted. They met during her military training. A place where hierarchy ruled, but authenticity mattered more. A place where she was simply Cadet Bourbon Ortiz, not Her Royal Highness. And for the first time in her life, she could breathe. He treated her like a person, not a symbol. He challenged her, listened to her, saw her fears, her pressures, her dreams. And slowly, the guarded princess began to open. But even then, Leonor knew, loving him would come at a price. Still, the more she tried to keep her distance, the more she found herself drawn to him. And Alejandro, disciplined, respectful, loyal, fought his feelings, until he couldn't. Every conversation, every shared glance, every quiet moment between drills created a thread that neither of them could cut. Until one evening, after months of denying what they both felt, he asked the question that would change everything. "Are you sure?" he whispered. "Leonor, do you want this?" And she said it, softly, clearly, yes. Her yes was not a proposal, yet. It was a promise, a decision, a leap, a declaration that she wanted to walk toward him, not away. That she wanted to shape her future, not simply inherit it. That she wanted to love not as a princess, but as Leonor, the woman. But promises carry consequences, especially royal ones. The moment her yes reached the wrong ears, Spain erupted. Whispers rippled through royal advisors, political leaders, noble families, and powerful elites who believed they had the right to decide the princess's destiny. They said Alejandro was not suitable, not noble, not traditional, not aligned with the monarchy's image. They said her choice threatened stability, respect, legacy. They said the future queen must choose a partner of equal stature. Someone royal, aristocratic, European. Someone approved by them, never by her. And in the echoing halls of Zarzuela Palace, the message arrived. Not as gossip, not as rumor, but as a verdict. Spain said no. No to her love. No to her choice. No to the man who held her heart. And with that no came pressure. Strategy meetings disguised as family talks. Political concerns masked as loving advice. Headlines designed to shame, not inform. Royal traditions presented as unbreakable laws. Leonor had been trained her entire life to lead Spain, but no one had trained her for this. The nation she was preparing to serve was now asking her to sacrifice her happiness for its comfort. Queen Letizia, knowing the pain of marrying into royalty, stood quietly at her daughter's side. She understood love, she understood sacrifice, but she also understood the monarchy's fragility. King Felipe, dignified and torn, tried to guide her with logic, not force. He adored his daughter, but he also bore the weight of a kingdom on his shoulders. Even Princess Sofia, Leonor's confidant and protector, saw the fear behind her sister's steady smile. Still, the pressure grew. Political analysts debated Alejandro's background. Royal commentators questioned his compatibility. Advisors warned of disruption. Nobles whispered about protocol. Influential families pushed for a proper match. Spain wasn't rejecting Alejandro. Spain was rejecting the idea that the princess could choose for herself. And yet, Leonor would not let go easily. She met Alejandro in secret, one final time, before everything reached its breaking point. It was late, quiet, hidden from every camera. He stood there, waiting, torn between love and duty. He already knew what the palace wanted. And he feared the choice she would be forced to make. "You said yes," he murmured. "And I meant it," she replied. "But Spain." "I am not Spain," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Not yet." In that moment, she wasn't the crown princess. She was a young woman fighting for the one thing she was never trained to control, her heart. But even love can bend under pressure. And even the strongest hearts can break under the weight of a nation. The media frenzy intensified. The palace faced scrutiny. Politicians weighed in. Royal advisors tightened their grip. And behind every headline, behind every demand, Leonor felt her world collapsing. The forbidden moment arrived quietly, without ceremony, without witnesses, without royal photographers. Just two young people in a shadowed courtyard, both knowing what came next. Alejandro took her hands. "You were meant for something greater than this," he whispered. "You were my something greater," she replied. But he shook his head, tears burning behind his eyes. "No, you belong to history, to Spain, to a throne. You will be queen, Leonor. And the world will demand everything from you." "No," she said again, breaking. "I already gave them everything." "Not your heart," he said softly. "That's why they're trying to take it." She clung to him, her voice shaking. "I don't want to lose you." "You won't," he answered. "But I can't stay." Her yes had met his no. Not because he didn't love her. But because he loved her too much to let her lose her crown for him. He stepped back. She stepped forward. And with one last touch, one last trembling breath, they ended what the world was never supposed to know existed. When he walked away, Leonor didn't cry where anyone could see her. She held her posture, straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin, just as she had been raised to do. But inside, she shattered. Spain believed it had protected the monarchy. Spain believed it had secured its future queen. Spain believed it had done the right thing. But Spain didn't see what it had cost her. In the days that followed, Leonor returned to her duties with flawless discipline. Public appearances continued. Military training resumed. Her speeches remained steady, calm, controlled. But those closest to her, her mother, her sister, saw the quietness in her eyes. A silence deeper than heartbreak. A stillness born from loss. Because the truth was simple. She said yes. Spain said no. And Alejandro said goodbye. But destiny has a strange way of circling back. Forbidden moments do not always stay buried. Some stories bend under pressure. But they do not break. And Leonor, the future queen, learned a truth older than any crown. A nation can take many things from a princess. But it cannot take the part of her heart that refuses to stop loving. This story is not over. Not for her. Not for him. Not for Spain. Because history remembers queens for their leadership. But it remembers them most for their courage. And Leonor's courage is only beginning.